This video is sponsored by Squarespace.
In my recent video, I had a comment that said, hey, this video is interesting, but I feel like you need to work on your hook. I've always had things to say, but listen, I've never been the perfect YouTuber, so I had AI write the hook for this video. You ready? Here we go. I got hacked twice while vibe coding my app, but I still think AI coding is the future. Here's why the billionaire is telling you not to try are wrong, and what actually happened when I built StudioInspo.com from scratch. Honestly, that was pretty good. That was pretty good. I don't know why I can't seriously do stuff like that. But hey, what's up? My name is Sara Dietschy, rhymes with Peachy. If you saw my last video about vibe coding, this is gonna be kind of like a more casual part 2. And if you haven't seen the vibe coding video, hey, this is a great part 1, and you can watch it after. And just so you're not speculating in the comments, yes, my eye is red, baby Peach is teething, and elbowed me in the face all night. I made an entire video vibe coding a Pinterest clone just for studio setups. It's super niche, but it was really fun doing it. It's 45 minutes and it was a lot of doing. This video is more opinion. And see, the framing of that video I might have gotten wrong. And so I want to clear up some things, and I think it will be fun to kind of just rant about this for a few minutes, like what I've been doing over on my second channel. So something I've been watching a lot on YouTube is Greg Eisenberg, and he does a really good job of informing people on the latest AI stuff, but it's through the lens of a lot of make $10,000 a day if you just use this thing, right? It's like, don't hate the player, hate the game. That is what gets clicks on YouTube. But despite that, I've been watching a lot of his videos, and some of them are just like extremely informational and great. But because I watch that, you know how the YouTube algorithm goes, you get recommended more of that. And so all I've been seeing about vibe coding over the past few months is either the super negative, it's dumb, don't waste your time, or the super, you're gonna get rich, vibe code a CRM for mechanics in Texas and make millions, you know? And so the framing of my video was like, hey, vibe coding is not a get rich quick thing. And it's actually gonna take more patience and learning than you actually think. But I feel like I undersold it in a way, because the bigger point should have been, but I did it. And it worked. And so almost my own negative framing led to a lot of critical comments. And again, everyone is always entitled to their own opinion, but there was a lot of like, a real coder could have done this in only 3 days. You could have just done this using WordPress. Okay, but that wasn't the point of making a video about vibe coding. Okay, sure, maybe a pro developer could have done what I did in 3 weeks in only 3 days. But the point is, what I did in 3 weeks, I could have never have done 6 months ago. And that's the interesting part. Someone commented, one of my favorite vids of yours, thank you. Trying to respond to some positivity here. Alongside the creative tutor video you did, it's cool to see someone actually work through building something like this. A lot of vibe coding videos are not as in depth, blah, blah, blah. I love that he mentioned the creative tutor video, because only a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years ago, I used Bubble to try to build a custom like marketplace where people could basically find creative tutors, because that's how I learned. But I'm glad they pointed this out, because oh my gosh, Bubble. So they were one of the biggest no-code platforms before vibe coding, and oh my God, did they drop the ball. Poor Bubble. V0, Lovable, Bolt, Replit. Bubble could have been them. They're slowly introducing AI features, and I tried it, and it's very bad. But my brain did not compute with the UI of Bubble. It was actually very hard for me to understand. But they were that platform that offered very custom solutions, and you could build cool web apps and all those things without any code. But it was pretty confusing, and at the end of that video, it didn't work. I would say Studio Inspo is a similar project. What I was trying to do just a year and a half ago is now possible because of these AI tools. And that's kind of crazy. There is so much noise in this AI world, and there's so many pointless tools being released all the time. So again, you gotta really be able to decipher between the signal and the noise. But if you find the right vibe coding tool for you, it's not noise. I should start like a new tech AI segment or something. It's like, buy or bust. But this is a buy. Claude Code, V0, buy. There were a lot of questions, and it makes me regret how not just I framed this video, but it should have been like 3 different videos, let's be honest. And as someone who is very inundated in the tech scene, I just assumed that everyone knew what vibe coding was, and that was not true. So if you think you're late to this thing, you definitely are not. I also had some questions about how much did it cost me. I put the cost of all my different tools down here. The only one that I forgot is my usual just ChatGPT subscription, which I guess is like $20 a month. month. There was a lot of comments like this one, where they didn't even like watch the video, but then they had opinions. It's like, oh, okay. And it's funny, there's a lot of this. You need to know what you're going to prompt your AI to do before you get started. Blah, blah, blah. There's like this sense of like almost gatekeeping. It's like you have to have the most perfectly planned PRD before you get started, or you should not be allowed to be using vibe coding tools. And that's cool if you want to go about your vibe coding ways like that. But hey, it's a vibe. You can do whatever you want. You're going to learn so much more by building your first thing and seeing all the places that you got stuff wrong or you failed, or someone on Twitter left a mean comment like, hey, this is broken, loser. Like, doing is how you learn, at least how I learned. So just vibe code how you want. I started another vibe coding project this past week. I know I have a problem. And it's funny, I went this route. I just started talking to ChatGPT, and over several days, I outlined the perfect document that listed all the features and everything that it's going to do. And I copied and pasted that into the vibe coding tool or whatever. And it was just too much. If you plan everything out initially, at least for me, it does not work. So I did a 180 and boiled it down to just like the core feature. I wrote 3 sentences into Claude Code. And of course it wasn't perfect, but from there I was able to iterate, and I finally got to exactly what I wanted, a more simplified version, granted, right? But exactly what I wanted in only an hour. And so I think you're going to get better at this, and you're going to find your own workflow that works for you just the more you do it. There's a common theme in a lot of comments is just, it's a lot of yapping, but not a lot of like, oh, do you do the thing? Have you done the thing? Why are you telling what other people should do when you don't actually have anything productive to show of yourself? The security issues with that T app, were in the news recently, and everyone's like, see, this is what happens when you vibe code apps. And it wasn't even a vibe coding problem. That's very easy to just Google. Yes, the most challenging parts of vibe coding apps will be the security, will be, maybe setting up Stripe if you're doing that, whatever. But like all things, if you're patient, you can learn. And guess what? Just like legit apps with a ton of talented software developers on their team who have issues, even the smartest of the smartest have security issues, and then they fix them. You too will probably have some security issues that you can just fix on your little productivity app that 2 people use. I'm not saying that as an insult. I'm saying everything has to start from somewhere. So you start small and you iterate. And hey, if you're lucky enough to where you actually have a ton of users, then like any other project, you can hire a professional developer to help you. The most talented developers and security professionals are going to be more valuable than ever right now. The hardest part about all of this, whether you're a programmer or not a programmer, has always been building a thing that people actually care about. Usually that's why teams and startups will have a technical co-founder and then a non-technical co-founder. And that non-technical person has more expertise in storytelling and marketing and management and all of those other things. So yes, this is a very exciting time where people who have patience and are thirsty for knowledge and willing to learn can build software without being programmers. But that still doesn't solve the other half of the equation where you're actually solving a need with the thing that you make. The thing that I saw that actually made me want to make this video was this tweet by Chamath. This tweet is by someone who's already a billionaire, where I'm sure most of that wealth came from the SPACs that he scammed people with. So he's basically telling plebes to, hey, don't even try to build software to provide value to the world because it's just too tough right now, and only he can provide the value through his new software startup. And he basically used it to promote his software startup. And I'm just like, my favorite vibe coding video ever is this one. When I watched it, it only had a few thousand views. Now it has like 40,000 views. So I'm glad he's getting the love. Micah Lynchid. Micah, my guy, you need like a rhymes with peachy tagline or something to help us say your name. I loved this video so much because it was practical. He built a real thing. He told you how much money he made. It wasn't a squillion dollars in a weekend. And he was just very practical about it, but he also just talked about this need that he met. And he basically took all of this data from a very ugly, hard to navigate government website, wrapped it in a beautiful app, and then sold that information via the app to fishermen. And he made 7.4K in 2 weeks. Not a coder, but he understood a very niche problem, and he met that need with a vibe coded app. And it doesn't matter what tools or stack he used. What matters is people needed it, and they needed it so bad that they paid for the app. Watch the video. It is so good. One of the reasons why AI coding is piquing my interest more than anything else in AI is because it's just inevitable. The nature of coding has always been evolving from ones and zeros, right? It's always been from going from ones and zeros to assembly, to all of these higher level languages, right? That make coding easier to understand. So I feel like it's only inevitable that the final evolution of that is natural language. It makes sense to me that LLMs are the natural endpoint for coding because it's made up of the same thing that it's producing. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. It makes natural language the final programming language. But that's why it's so interesting to me. Not only does it work right now, but it is getting better at such an insane pace that the things that we're talking about right now that do not work, just wait a few months. Okay, so I do want to touch on some very real things that I did get wrong with Studio Inspo, so kind of properly do a follow-up on it. But before that, there were a lot of good questions asking about when is it the right time to use these vibe coding tools. This person was asking about it in the context of their new legal and real estate business, and I responded the way I think about this. If you already have a business, use something like Squarespace. But if the business is actually the website, try vibe coding. So if you're already a professional with services to sell, whether you're selling physical goods or digital goods, or you're selling your time, you want to focus on your actual products and services, not learning this whole other vibe coding thing. Squarespace is the place to do it. It is what I have used to build my own creative portfolio for the past 10 years, and it is so easy to use. They have so many plug and play services built in, and whether you're using their award-winning templates or their new Blueprint AI, you can now get started with a website in just a few clicks. Super quick. If you check out my Squarespace website, saradietschy.com, you'll see I use it to showcase my brand work, attract sponsors, but recently I decided to step it up a bit and diversify the services that I offer, and I did it all in Squarespace. I launched Studio Setup. It's a course with over 8 hours of video content and 44,000 words of written documentation, and it's designed to help you look better on camera in a world where content is everything. The course content itself, built on Squarespace. The landing page, Squarespace. The custom domain forwarding, the sending the launch email to my newsletter, the automated emails that I'm sending to buyers of the course, scheduling consult calls, all of that I was able to do on Squarespace. And it all just works. So if you want to give it a try, go to squarespace.com/saradietschy, that's me, for a free trial. And when you're ready to launch, use offer code saradietschy for 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. All right, so let's end this video on a little bit of a follow-up. You guys were sending me all of the bugs and all of the things. I am so grateful for that because again, that's how I learned. So mobile is completely fixed. It looks great on mobile. The search is fixed, all of the things. I had other little bugs here and there. So I had to get that out of the way this past week. But let's talk about the serious stuff. So I kind of got hacked. Twice, actually. So the first time I talked about in the first video, this is when I actually sent it to some developer friends before the launch. And there I learned, hey, do not let AI do your authentication. If you let AI do it, they're going to do it in a dumb way. And basically the admin page of my first website was able to be hacked by just changing a cookie in the developer tools in, like Chrome or Safari. So that not good. Fix that with using Supabase. But the second big problem was actually pretty bad because it's not something that I caught until I launched, and a very kind human emailed me about this. And this was 100% my fault for not double checking just some simple settings in Supabase. So I didn't advertise that people could sign up for this website, right? I want them to come and look and leave. I didn't make a sign up portal or anything, so I thought I was good, and I had my admin permissions in place for Supabase, so I'm good, right? Well, no. In Supabase, there's a very simple setting, which again, I should have checked. I should have double checked all of this, that says allow users to sign up. Now, even though I didn't uncheck that, I didn't even think that was going to be a problem because I didn't have anywhere that people could actually sign up. Well, okay, that's not true because this person was able to create a new account using the Supabase JavaScript SDK, and then my RLS policies weren't ironed ironclad. So he was actually able to go in and edit content, like edit the titles, edit tags and stuff, which is crazy. So how I initially set up my policies in Supabase was just via a SQL script that the vibe coding platforms gave me to run within Supabase, which now I don't recommend. Supabase actually has some very helpful documentation. That's what I've been doing, just reading very boring documentation. That's how you got to learn this stuff. And I would recommend manually setting it up, because here's the thing what the AI did. When I went in to double check my RLS policies within Supabase, all of them said, only the admin can do this. You know, the admin can upload content, the admin can modify content. But and I just thought that was that, right? But no, that was just the policy name. So the AI named the policy, right? The admin can only do this. But when you actually click in on it and you see the implementation, it was not set to admin, it was set to authenticated users. So any user that signs up via Supabase is an authenticated user. Only I'm an admin. So that means if someone figured out how to sign up as a user, they are authenticated and therefore they can do whatever they want. Again, for some reason, the policy for uploading content was set to admin. The AI got that right. But for editing content, it was set to authenticated users, not admin. So yes, there are obvious blind spots with vibe coding right now. Do not trust it with your security. But again, how I learned this stuff the best is just by doing. You know, there's a reason why my first vibe coded project wasn't something that I was making money off of, or, you know, I was building a database for the CIA, right? You know, again, low stakes. But boy, do I know so much more about Supabase, about security. So this stuff you just got to do your homework with. I just felt like I needed to get some of this stuff off of my chest, right? Kind of balance the reality versus the hype. And really at the core of it, I just wanted to emphasize, hey, this is a little different. I know there's a lot of BS out there, but this is something special. If you have an idea in your head, just give it a try. I know I might upset some people by saying that. I don't know why this is such a divisive thing. Well, yes, I do know why this is a divisive thing, because so many people are just talking about people losing their jobs and AI is good or bad and this or that. I'm not talking about whether AI is innately good or bad. That's a subject for a whole other video, a whole other day that I don't think I ever want to make. But what I'm saying is there's something to this vibe coding thing. If you feel the pull, do not let a lot of the negativity weigh you down. In so many different ways, this is the future. I would consider myself, you know, at the core, a video creator. I love telling stories. I love filming, editing, whatever. But video has already been democratized, whether it was CapCut, TikTok, all of these different things. The past 10 years, oh my gosh, has it been democratized for the good and for the bad. But I would argue that the good outweighed the bad, because no longer do you have these gatekeepers of Hollywood or TV show producers gatekeeping content. Anyone can create content, right? And as someone who can go into Resolve and edit a very complex video, I'm not sitting over here judging people using CapCut. If you have a story to share your story. So that's happening with coding right now. That's happening with software. But I don't think this stuff is going away. So I don't think it hurts to try it. Okay, yeah, let me know if you like this video. Hit that subscribe button down below for new videos every month, every other week. New videos. I'm making new videos. Check out my Squarespace link down in the description below. Thank you for sponsoring, and until next time, stay peachy. Okay, bye.